Hello, welcome to Read Drink Talk, a book club podcast where we read dope books, drink liquor, and talk shit. My name is Anthony Renteria.
I'm Ariel Fletcher.
And in our fourth and final episode of Red Rising, we are discussing chapters 36 through 44. Red Rising is a 2014 dystopian science fiction novel by American author Pierce Brown and the first book in the Red Rising series. Now, just as a reminder, we will be covering chapters 36 through 44, and we will be spoiling anything and everything. So the entire book.
Yeah, this is the finale. I am prepared. I took a pre-recording shot, just one, just to start it off. And then, so that was probably like 30 minutes ago at this point. But yeah, so I took one and I'm prepared to take another shot for however many we need to throughout this time today. But I do have my crown apple tonight. So I'm ready when you are.
So this is going to be my first shot in like 4 years.
Oh, wow. It's been a long time coming for you, huh? So this book podcast must be quite special if you're going to take your first shot in 4 years.
Yes. Wait, what do people say when they take shots? Do people say stuff?
I don't know. I don't. I just take the shot.
I just
take the shot and move on. Try not to die.
Yeah.
Some people say like salud and stuff like that, but I don't really. I'm like
oh yeah. We'll do a salud. So
all right. Salud. Woo! That's disgusting.
God, I don't know how
that
you
is
drink like that.
Terrible. Woo!
I would not drink. I would quit drinking.
And I was just telling my wife, I said, at some point, I'm just gonna have to stop drinking. Like, at some point, I'm gonna come to the conclusion that alcohol is just not for me anymore.
There has to be some sort of like middle ground. I was thinking about like maybe like what is because don't some people just get like a liquor and they get like a seltzer or something and pour it in that?
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm like, maybe eventually I'm gonna have to get into that. I just fucking don't like seltzers. I know like Moscow Mules are one of my faves, and that typically tends to be fine. And I think it's just because it's like a ginger ale with some, so ginger ale is already a light drink anyway. So I feel like that's why that works. And maybe I just have to stick with those. But vodka's not my like liquor of choice. So that's why I don't make a lot of those. So I tend to do better with browns than like the white.
What are you going to be drinking in between shots? Or are you just
I'm just going to do the crown. I'll sip on it a little bit here and there. I definitely already feel that second shot though. Like I feel the fuzziness.
Oh yeah. That's what I was thinking about last night because we both finished this book reading it last night, and I was like, damn, I'm gonna get fucked up. Like I hope the last 30 minutes of this pod survives. So
well, we know the finales will be a little wild, so every finale will just make that a point to like we got to do shots on the book finale. So but yeah, so let's just see, I guess. See what happens. Haven't seen like Drunk Ace in ages.
Yeah. Oh, and just for like behind the scenes, like me and you aren't actually, physically together. So you'll get like a Zoom Drunk Ace.
Yeah. We'll have to see what's the difference, and then you'll get like the drunk Ariel in my closet, laying in my closet on the floor, like just absolutely wrecked from my crown shot. So yeah, but we're here. It's a good time already.
Oh, and I was going to tell you, so I was at the liquor store and I was going to get another bottle of Crown, but instead I saw these. What is this called? It's like I didn't even know they did this, but it's like a mixed drink that Crown makes. I'll send you a picture. Maybe I'll upload a picture to Instagram so people can see what I'm talking about. But it's like a Crown Royal whiskey lemonade.
What?
And it's like pre-mixed, by them. Yeah, and then I got a Jack Daniel's whiskey apple cocktail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so far it's real good. See, like I was worried it was gonna be, how like back in the day they used to have like those Jack Daniel's soda things at the gas station.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a real whiskey. It was like some off-brand whatever bullshit.
Yeah.
But so far this Crown lemonade, it is legit Crown. Just with like a lemonade juice in it. It's pretty strong. So let's get into this book because a lot has happened.
So much.
Okay, so I can't. This show has me fucked up. I can't. I just want to like jump to the very end.
Yeah, right. Just want to talk about all the shit that happened like in the last like chapter and a half. And these chapters were so much longer than like at the beginning, you know? Like I think what the first episode, because we've stuck with the 100 pages or about 100 pages every time. In the first episode, we covered 12 chapters. I think this one was 8. So these chapters were just like so much long. They were like jam-packed with stuff, with information, with like action, and just a lot was happening. A lot.
I guess the first big thing that happens that I can remember off the top of my head is that they conquer a house pretty rapidly. I forgot what their name was. I just remember it was like cold and it was icy, and they were all like faking that they were sick and that they were weak and like ravaged. And then they ended up like sneaking around and taking over the castle. But the big thing that we learn here is that one of the proctors named Apollo comes down and tries to kill Darrow like in a trap. And that becomes a huge theme of these final chapters. I was going to ask you, like, what did you think when, you know, this proctor literally trying to kill Darrow in the middle of the game? What were your thoughts about that?
So I know that kind of Fitchner, you know, he had talked, or Darrow had talked to Fitchner, the House Mars proctor, prior to, and kind of already knew that this was going to be a thing, that like the closer he got, you know, the more obvious and overt these like interferences from the proctors, I think specifically Apollo and was it Jupiter, how they really, really, really needed the Jackal to win this whole thing, right? So I think it definitely wasn't surprising that it happened, but it was just kind of crazy because you can see, like, you know, Darrow must really be doing something right as far as as far as how the game is supposed to work. He must be doing something right because these proctors are basically in a frenzy. Like the fact that they would come down and just like in your face try to kill him, you know, even the bear, and just like showing his face. And you know, Darrow knows, like, because he took a risk. I mean, like Apollo took a risk with that. If Darrow didn't die, which he didn't, like he knew, like Apollo specifically, he came down, did this, showed his face to me, like, I know Apollo set me up. And that ends up being Apollo's downfall. Like the fact that he's just so like, yeah, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you because you're doing too much, and maybe hide yourself a little bit. I don't know. Like I think I might be a little more afraid to like tempt someone like Darrow, where you can see he's so ambitious and just like angry and young, and like he'll do whatever. Just, I mean, like, you know, Darrow's whole thing is like he does everything based off of like either rage or love. And I feel like that's kind of like that same like thin line between love and hate. Like that love, all that love he has ends up turning into rage. So like everything he does is just so emotion based that I would be scared to show my face as like, I'm the one like definitely screwing you over here. Like I set this bear, this big ass like bear that really is not what a bear looks like that you and I would think of as some like weird shit that they have just creation. Made. Yeah, some like huge ridiculous bear. Yeah, I'm about to kill you. Like no, but maybe I just like, maybe I'm not as arrogant clearly as Apollo is, and he just thinks he's like untouchable.
That's the other thing I forgot to mention is he also, before he tries to kill Darrow, he like ruins their food. He causes like the weather to be worse. He causes like he's literally just sabotaging their entire mission.
Yeah.
And then that final thing is trying to kill him, trap. Well, that's one of the final things. And then I think there's another part right after this where I think this is where like they have a campfire, or maybe this is did Severo join the party? I'm getting like things confused. There's a point where I think it's Tactus. He rapes a girl.
Yeah.
And it's a whole ordeal. And, you know, we're all thinking like, oh my God, like we're back to square one with these fucking idiots. Like, we literally had to deal with this shit in House Mars. I guess we could talk about that and then talk about the other part. But yeah, so that happens. And I didn't really understand. Like, I didn't know what Darrow was going to do.
Yeah.
Like, when I was reading it, I was like, oh, man, just fucking... In my head, I was just like, oh, just fucking kill him or whatever. I don't fucking know. Because it was a whole mess of a thing. And then what actually happens is Darrow whips him. You know, he gets the girl that was raped, asks her what his punishment should be. She says nothing. And then the twist of this event is that Darrow then makes the person he just whipped, Tactus, whip him.
Yeah.
Because we're all family now.
Mm-hmm.
And And I don't know. I wanted to hear your opinion about that because I was like, so like it was just shocked. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like it's like one of those things you hear someone say, like, wait, does that actually work? Like, would that actually work?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
that's
so
kind
out
of how
there.
I felt because I mean, same as you, like I was like, I don't know how he's gonna get out of this situation. Cause it just felt like, yeah, this is that same fucking setup. Like, how is he going to make both parties happy? Or maybe not necessarily happy, but like how is he going to bring the group together after this? Because last time he thought he was doing something and yeah, it was right for half of the group, but then the other half is now so bitter that now they're your enemies. They're not going to follow you. Like, how do you bring together all these people who come from all over the place and have their own thoughts about how shit's supposed to run? Like, how do you do that? And I was not expecting him to be like, well, I'm going to have them whip me right back. Like, I thought that was really interesting. And obviously it worked. Like it did whatever he thought it was going to do. But how he came to this conclusion, I have no idea. And would I have done that as a leader? Fuck no. I'm not about to sit here and get whipped. But I mean, it did. I mean, it really did work in his favor. And I guess I don't know if it made it just seem like we're all one entity, you know, like if one of us does wrong, then all of us did wrong. Well, I mean, you know, obviously he's not going to whip everyone, but it's like, I'm the leader of this, but I'm the same as you guys. Like, I almost feel like that's kind of like what he made it like this. What you guys do affects everybody here. So, and I mean, it worked, but would I have guessed that? Would I have thought of like, hey, Daryl, whip yourself too? Like, no, fuck no.
I mean, it was one of the most interesting things in the book so far, in my opinion, because it was like I've read, like, I mean, we kind of talked about in our introduction episode, I've read a lot of self-help books, and that includes a lot of books about managing people, managing teams, you know, creating a community, like all those kind of stuff. So like team building, leadership things. And like one of the big things is, you know, making everyone feel like they're a part of a family and like everyone's valued and stuff. So, but like even all that like studying and research I've done, like this was still like such a shocking like idea. And it's so interesting because I was like trying to think about it like in realistic terms. And I was like, yeah, because, you know, like Tactus I think it was Tactus who did the rape. You know, he's just doing it because he's a young teenager who is just a piece of shit. You know, like there's like it's like a selfish kind of thing. And he expects, oh, I'm just going to get punished and whatever. I don't care. But then it's like when you turn it onto someone else, then you start thinking about your actions in a different way. So it's like, imagine if every time you fucked up, your wife suffered. Then it would change everything you thought about. Then it'd be like, whoa, it's like if I call out of work, that's all me. Like why is she, or why is anyone else paying for something I do just because I want to be like a butthole or something, you know?
Right.
And I think it's like an interesting idea and concept. And I just kept thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I mean, that's insane. And then, I love how the scene was like described with I think Tactus whips him, but then he starts crying, and then Pax whips him, and then he starts crying, and then someone else has to finish whipping him, and it's like everyone just feels like pathetic. And I think it does a good job of like making all of them feel like, yeah, why are we doing this? Like this is stupid. Like, I think it adds like this layer of like conscious, like this is all stupid as hell.
Yeah.
And I think like we kind of got a little bit of it, like in basic training, you know, like there was the, like if your wingman or like someone in your flight fucks up, then everyone has to get down and do whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of concept, but to see that inverted to leadership, like, I don't know, like I was trying to like visualize in my mind, like, all right, like let's say every time we fucked up as a flight in basic training, our like, our MTI or MTL had to do something. And I was like, man, like I guess I would kind of feel bad. Like, I don't know. Like, it's so weird because that's the person I kind of hate.
Yeah.
But then it's like if they're crying and getting whipped, I would be
and
like,
now you feel bad. Like, damn, I was the reason that they're doing this. Like, I got to do better now, you know?
Yeah.
And so I guess that does work. But I think Mustang even says like, or I don't know if Mustang says it or if Darrow has the thought to himself, like, well, got to make sure basically that they don't, well, now I've realized, you know, Darrow's pissed me off. So I'm going to do something bad because I know I'll get whipped, but that man's going to get whipped too, you know? So I think one of them says that. So that was an interesting thing. And obviously, evidently that doesn't happen throughout the game. Like no one like uses that type of thing like to their advantage. It really did work to like pull them together. And I thought it was really interesting how Darrow made it like basically you earn, they all wear the wolf things and
wolf pelt.
Yeah, the pelts. And it's like you earn that, and you earn when they take slaves, when they take houses, right? You earn your spot in this like family, basically. Like that's really, it's kind of like, now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of like, it feels like kind of like a gang. Like where it's like you gotta earn your stripes, you gotta earn your color, like you earn that stuff. And like there's some type of initiation to it. And I think Mustang says like, oh, there you go, like you got your cult. And it kind of is that, where they're like following this dude like blindly, and they just trust in him so much. But it is kind of cool like how he brought people together like that. And maybe that's like his Red mindset, because even like as a Red, like working as a hell diver, like his team, like in the beginning, they're all like pumped up by the idea of like winning the laurel and like what it could do for them as a whole, and also shitting on Gamma, you know what I'm saying? They're like, fuck Gamma, like, but we want this, like all of us are gonna work harder, we're gonna work together for this kind of stuff. And it's kind of the same thing with how they go about taking over other houses. It's like, earn your fucking spot, earn your wolf pelt. Earn that shit. Like you're not, you won't be a slave anymore as long as you prove your loyalty to us and you prove your worthiness. And then you'll get you're part of the family now. Like you're part of something bigger, something better. Which reminds me of the military stuff you said. Like that's always everyone's thing. It's like, I want to be a part of something bigger than myself. And that's almost like the same mindset, or the same like thing that Darrow has created here in their little wolf pack.
Which, speaking of wolf packs, I don't know when exactly it happens in the chronologically, but our boy Severo comes back. Yeah. He's alive with a fake eyeball. I was so happy to have him back.
Same. And I think he comes back after Darrow, after that incident with the bear, because isn't that like Severo's trap that he steps into? Very glad to have him back.
Around that time, or maybe it's afterwards. Damn it. My brain is like fucked up. I think it's after. It's like Tactus and Pax and Mustang and Darrow and now Severo. They're sitting around a campfire talking about the next house they're about to conquer. And I think this is the last time Paulo comes. And oh shit, before all this, oh my God, we skipped over an important part. We get a scene with Fitchner in one of the castles. I think it was one of the castles Darrow has taken over. After Severo's return, Darrow connects the dots that Fitchner is Severo's father.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that because I thought that was fucking crazy.
Dude, did not see that shit coming. Like, at no point did I. And I almost wonder, I'm like, did he drop hints along the way? I don't fucking know. Because I wasn't paying, I guess I wasn't paying that much attention. But yeah, that felt like such a like, I was like, what? Who's daddy? Like, what? So that was, did not see that one. Did not see that one coming. And I think even Darrow, he's like, yeah, looking back, like their relationship was so weird. I should have pieced it together. And that almost made me want to go back and find out what the fuck were they saying to each other? Where now in the context of knowing like their father and son, would that be funny or would that make more sense? Whatever it was that they were saying. But I didn't go back. I was too focused on like moving forward. But yeah, that was interesting. I don't know. I didn't see that shit coming.
I was super shocked. And it made Severo make a lot of sense of why he's not really interested in being a leader.
Yeah.
Because like his dad has that personality. Like he kept telling Darrow, like, you got to just fit, in your spot. Like, everything's like predestined.
You can only go so
like, don't.
Far. Yeah.
Yeah, like don't try too hard, like graduate, blah, blah, blah. So like it's cool that ideology kind of went down to Severo, but Severo is more of a rebel, which makes sense why like as soon as this game started, he just went off and made a wolf pack with him and like 5 other buddies, and they're just fucking around doing whatever
he's basically
they do.
Like, I'm just going to get through this alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to get through this alive, but I'm not trying to be Primus. I'm not trying to do all this shit. Like, I am who I am, and my dad dad who he is who he is, and my family, they are, and that's just that, you know, like, so now it does make sense, his kind of like chillness, like his chill or lackadaisical like approach to this whole thing. He's like, he'll probably end up as a proctor or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, that's about as far as I can go.
Yeah. During this sequence and this, when they're talking in a fort, Darrow, I think he like punches him in the nose or in the throat.
Yeah.
And just ties him up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is like at the end of a chapter. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
I was confused because I was like, did he kill him or did he just like, because the way he said it, he was like he broke his nose and then he just kept like bludgeoning him in the face from what it sounded like. So I was like, oh my God, did he just kill Fitchner? And I'm like, what's the reason to killing Fitch? Like, I was confused as far as like where it left off. I was a little like, what the fuck? Like that's something that like Darrow did not explain to us. Like, he didn't tell us where his mindset was going yet. So which was cool because it ended up leading to like a what the fuck, like plot twist. But
yeah, the exact sentence was, that's when I break his nose, slam my elbow into his temple till he no longer moves. I was like, he's dead.
And I was like, oh my God, he just killed Fitchner. Like, for what? And I'm like, is Severo gonna be mad at him, or is he gonna be like, whatever? Like what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, this was definitely part of the novel when I was like, okay, things are about to get fucking crazy, because he just has a proctor tied up, and then we learn after this, and I think this is where my mind was wanting to get to, is like there's a campfire. I think they're about to invade another house, and it's all of them sitting around a campfire, and then Apollo shows up. Mm-hmm. And, they start talking, and he has like whatever jam scrambler or whatever the hell, blocking the radio video feed or whatever the hell. And Darrow essentially tells everyone to Apollo's face, like, we all know that you're rigging the system and blah, blah, blah. And while Apollo's like talking to him or whatever, I think it's Severo and Tactus, or maybe it's Severo, Mustang and Tactus. I forgot. 2 or 3 of them leave this little huddle while they're all just chit-chatting about, quitting the game or whatever. And they're out conquering the castle that I think belongs to Apollo. And I loved how that whole scene played out, because I love when, I forgot what happens, but like the bubble leaves or whatever the hell, and you just hear all the screaming. Yeah. And it's like, oh, fuck you, dumbass. Like, you're over here talking to them around this little campfire, and they're just like, they already took over your entire fort. Like, it's game over.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. Which was dope. It was a really, really cool scene. Like, I feel like these last couple chapters of this book, we have really, really, really seen like Darrow's cleverness. Like, it's shit that I did not see coming. Shit that like I feel like I would have never thought about. And you're like, damn, he's kind of made for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like he was definitely meant for a lot more than to just be a hell diver. Like, he's really good at this game of golds. Like, it's kind of crazy. So like, I thought like that whole scene was funny as hell, because I think it was like Apollo, and then I think there's other proctors there. Maybe just one other, like one or two other, but there's a couple other proctors there, like watching this whole interaction and talking shit to these kids. And meanwhile, their shit's getting raided, and like they have no fucking idea. Like, oh shit, they didn't have the rings on. Like, how was I supposed to know? Like, that shit is so funny to me. Like, that, like, these are supposed to be the adults who have already gone through this process. These are supposed to be peerless, scarred, they're supposed to be your teachers, basically. And I think the proctors have an interesting like position, because it's kind of like there seem to be more like mentors or teachers, but then what do they really do? I mean, and I guess like maybe the other proctors like do a lot more than Fitchner does, but he doesn't really seem to be much of like a teacher or mentor. He just kind of comes down to like fuck with people and then goes away. But it's just funny that these kids were able to dupe these peerless, scarred, like, we're supposed to be some of the best of the best, and that's why, well, not the best of the best, because if they were the best of the best, they would not be proctors, right? They would be out like running fleets and shit, but high enough to become these mentor, type, in these mentor type roles. And these kids just dupe them. And I think Darrow says, like, he's like, I think I'm 18 now. So a bunch of like 17, 18-year-olds just like played the shit out of you. Like, they came down here thinking like, oh, we got this. And like, meanwhile, your whole shit's getting raided and you didn't even know. by like two, because I think it was Severo and Tactus. So it's like two people go raid your shit. That's hilarious to me. So it was such good like action, such good like scenes like in these last couple of chapters. So I was enjoying it very much.
Yeah, I was shocked. Like it's like I think the first like chapter 36 is when we start going into shit like just off the bat.
Yeah, it's just like back to back to back, just like action, 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 action. Like it's like
the build up. Like it's interesting. Like as a reader and like as a writer, like wannabe writer, I was thinking like like he kind of had a really slow build up to this whole game thing.
Yeah.
And then these last 10 chapters, like he is like just fucking slamming on the gas pedal.
Oh,
like there's like just slamming all the way to the end, and like whatever happens. Like it feels definitely like they're just like a house, like a deck of cards, or a house of cards, just like falling.
Yeah,
like there's not even time to really like process like what's all going on.
Yeah.
Because they raid that first house, and then they are like that night they leave to raid this next house.
Facts.
And that's when all this shit's happening. And
right.
It's like,
everything is so back to back, because at the beginning of the story, or the beginning of the game, everything is going so slow. Like we know one house, like we know of House Ceres and House Mars, and that's it. And they have their little like half raid, like, and then months and months and months go by.
And then he gets sick for like 8 months.
Comes,
gets a girlfriend.
Like so much shit happens. Darrow damn near dies. Mustang damn near. Like it's so slow, and then boom bam. I feel like this all happens in like the course of a couple of days, and they've been in this game for God knows how fucking long.
Yeah.
And then bam, it just ends. Like then Darrow's like, fuck it, me and my crew, we're taking everybody out. Like like we're ready. Fuck it. We're not gonna wait another fucking day. We're taking these bitches out. Like, and they do. Like
yeah,
they do.
Everyone's like, whoa, what the fuck?
And in the meantime, it's like they're taking everyone out, and then they take a break to take out the proctors, and then go take out more people. Like it's just like, what the fuck? Like how did we get here?
Okay.
Like the shit's crazy. So there was so much happening. Wow.
Well, after this whole event, the house that they capture, I think it belongs to the Jackal. Is the Jackal's house. So that's the other part. So they come into this fort. I think they take the house really easily. Like the guy just surrenders.
Yeah, because I think it's like only like 7 people left in the house or something crazy, and they're off like trying to get House Mars or something. So
Darrow and his crew walk in, and then they're like, "Oh, we won already," and then they start drinking. This is where I was like, "What the hell's going on in this book?" Like, all right, now Darrow's drinking, getting drunk, and he's talking about he hasn't been drunk since his wife died, and like all this shit, and then like he's getting all his army to get drunk, and then he sends Pax or Tactus, one of those two. I always get them confused for some reason. I think it's Pax.
I think Pax. Yeah.
He sends Pax out and Mustang out and quote unquote drunk, and then Darrow's sitting by this dude. Like at the end of this little chapter, we realize, oh, this is the fucking Jackal.
Yeah.
And then he stabs his hand into a table with a knife.
Yeah.
And just that whole setup, like the whole them faking getting drunk and sending Pax and Mustang out to like clear out all because it was a trap essentially is what the Jackal was doing. But then this was like a reverse trap, and I was like, how the hell did Darrow plan this?
How did he know?
Like how did he tell everyone in his? I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like we never really got a scene where Darrow consults his crew. But I guess that's one thing as a writer I'm trying to figure out, because the whole book is in first person, right?
Yeah, right.
And we hear a lot of his thoughts.
Yeah.
But then like these last 12 chapters, we don't hear
not
shit.
Really. It's like he turns it off. Like he turns it off so that we get the plot twist. And it's like, bitch, how the fuck? When aren't I Darrow? You know what I'm saying? Like, aren't I supposed to know what's in this man's fucking brain? But
so that's interesting though, because I was thinking like, well, if you don't do it, then we know. Would that also be entertaining and exciting to know? Because wouldn't there also be like a tension of like, oh fuck, like we know Darrow's acting drunk, we know his crew's acting drunk. What if they get caught? Like I was trying to like figure out like which way would I do it and which way Like, I think this is probably the best way because it does read excitingly and it's like entertaining, and we don't know. Like, it feels good to not know something. But yeah, it was just an interesting thought. But I was going to ask you about that whole situation and setup. There he is, the one and only Jackal that we've been building up to, for 2 years in this game.
So okay, that was again major fucking plot twist. And I guess like for me, so I remembered that they said that several, like I remember them like rating whatever the house was that they raided right before this. And I remember them saying like, oh, we were upset to find that it was grape juice, not wine. So I knew when they're doing this scene, like, this is not, I know that they're pretending to be drunk now. And then I guess Daryl keeps giving hints. But I remembered, I'm like, okay, it's grape juice, it's not wine. So they're pretending. I had no fucking clue. I'm like, evidently there is something here. But I thought, I don't know, like, I guess I just thought that Daryl was still playing another game where there was a bigger, like, I don't know, coup, I guess, at the end of this. But I was confused at like how this was going to work out. I'm like, why are you trying to trick this guy? Like, he's already surrendered. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I just thought like, I was confused. Like, I'm like, what is this whole like rouge for? And then even when Mustang comes in and Daryl like can't really tell her, obviously, because she's standing right there, or because the Jackal's right there. And then like Daryl doing this whole thing, like, oh yeah, we've been collecting these rings, blah, blah, blah. Oh, but I don't have this ring. And then bam, stabs dude in the fucking hand. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? Like, I was so confused. And I'm like, what is this random like bout of like violence for? And then come to find out it's the Jackal. And I don't know. And I'm still like, how the fuck did Darrow know this? Like, and I know he said like, oh, he didn't, like, the ring that he had on was too big and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, bitch, how did you piece this shit together? Like, truly, truly, truly.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you piece this shit together? And then how did we, as the readers, who are supposed to technically be seeing this all from Darrow's point of view, how the fuck did we not know this was the Jackal? Like, I feel like I was just as confused as the other people in his like clan, where he says like, yeah, they're all playing their role because they trust me enough to know that I'm doing this for a reason, but they had no fucking clue. They didn't know that shit was the Jackal. Like, they had no idea. So I'm like, what? How the fuck did Daryl figure that shit out? Like, but I will say because we talked about the Jackal. I don't know if we talked about it last episode or the episode before, but we talked about like what we thought the Jackal might actually be, like how he would be as a person. And I know we were kind of like, well, maybe he's gonna be like this weak, like shrimpy dude, and it's just like, it just doesn't make sense. No, first of all, dude was crazy as fuck. Okay, like, he actually lived up to his name. This dude was fucking insane. He scared me a little bit. Like, and I feel like even Daryl was like, I'm scared. Like when we get to the point where like, of course, like his hand has been stabbed. And even Daryl's like describing how he only like freaks out for like a half a second with that. And then he like calms himself. And he's like, whatever, my hand is stabbed through. Excuse me?
It's like, I'm chill.
Excuse me? I'm about to be crying, screaming, cuss people out. Why is my hand stabbed through? Like, you're not going to be able to get any information out of me because I'm going to be fucking crying and screaming. And this dude just like, let me take a couple deep breaths. I don't even care that you just stabbed my hand. Fuck this hand.
He's like he's like some like just like meditation just guru, just like
like, this dude is a psychopath. Like, it's like when he's describing him, I'm thinking of like in my head of like what a serial killer is. Not like a serial killer necessarily, but like a psychopath. I'm thinking like this dude, something is wrong with him mentally. Like, this is psychosis. Like, like what the fuck is going on? So I'm like, I guess he really does like live up to his name.
Speaking of that, way earlier before this, when we are introduced to Severo's missing an eyeball because of the Jackal.
Yeah.
Or one of his goons or whatever. And Severo gives us the backstory on why he got his name, the Jackal, and like how his year in this game has went.
Oh,
I think from my memory, the jackal, Severo says that the jackal, his little crew tried raiding a house. They failed. They got like went into a cave.
yeah,
The
I
cave,
forgot
he
about this.
exploded the cave to protect himself.
Yes.
And then they were stuck in the cave, like him and 10 other people. And he, I guess, ate the 10 other people.
Yeah, they ate the other people. Like, excuse me. It's like, bitch, where have we gone with this story? Like, because out of all the starvation and hunger that Darrow has described from his clan, from Mars, from any other house they've come across, I never heard of nobody like being a cannibal. That hasn't come across. Of all the rape and violence, never heard cannibalism. So now
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
The thing it kept reminding me of, I was like thinking like throughout this whole thing, I was like, these people are just gonna like these golds or whatever, they're gonna leave this school and this is gonna be like their high school experience. Like this is like, oh, I went to basic training. And like we all
Yeah.
have like basic training stories or
Yeah.
tech school stories. But these motherfuckers just like, I ate 9 people.
Yeah.
I did a circle piss. I got circle pissed on. It's like, what the fuck kind of schooling system is this?
Yeah, shit is like crazy as fuck. Like, excuse me, like that. I'm sorry, but like when they started talking about that, I'm like, oh my god. And then it was just so weird because I guess I really was like thinking that we're gonna get to the jackal and he's just gonna be a name. You know what I'm saying? But like, there's really nothing backing it besides like he's the arch governor's son. Like, no, bitch, this dude is actually crazy as fuck because now, okay, his hand is stabbed through, and Darrow thinks he's like got him like cornered. He's like he's a gold. He would never sacrifice himself for whatever, like for a cause. Like they're all arrogant, they're all selfish. He would never. So he tells them like, if you cut off your arm, you're good to go, or cut off your hand, like I'll let you go. And the dude fucking cuts off his fucking hand. I was like, are you kidding? Couldn't even, the thing is, he cut off his hand, made it like 3/4 of the way through, and Pax had to stop him like, actually, or was it Tactus or was it I think it was Pax. Just kidding. Actually, just take this because I can't sit here and stomach watching you like saw your fucking hand off, and gives him like this ion blade or whatever so that it cauterizes it and just like cuts through. And I'm like, that is insanity. Like seriously, because in reality, like this is not like it kind of reminds me of like Saw, like the Saw movies, and they like lock them up in the room and it's like he's chained up by the foot. And it's like, well, yeah, if you saw off your foot, then you're good to go. But like, no person in their right mind is gonna do that. And I think in that movie, it only came down to it once they had been in there for like ages. Dude just got his hand stabbed through. Like he could have waited it out a little longer to see.
Yeah, like.
But it's almost like he wanted people to know, like, truly, I don't give a fuck about this hand. I'll cut this bitch off. Like,
yeah,
not me.
And then I just imagine imagine how dumb you'd look if you're Darrow. Like, he's not gonna cut his hand off. And then he just proceeds to cut his hand off in front of everyone, faking drunk.
No,
there's probably some people who were like, I wish I was still drunk.
Right, fake drunk off this fucking grape juice. No, that shit was honestly insane. And I know Darrow was sitting there looking so fucking stupid because he's like really like he's saying it like he's saying, well, I guess to himself, but to us, he's saying like, yeah, he would never do this. He's a gold. And the fucking jackal picks this shit up and he's like, see, me and you, we're not alike. I don't give a fuck about this hand. This
ain't even my right hand, man.
Right. Like, just proceeds to like so like gruesomely just like saw his own hand off. And I'm just like, what the hell? What the fuck? And it's so funny. Like what? Like I always tell my wife, like when we watch stuff, I'm like, yeah, I don't have enough honor for this. Like I'm never the one that's like, oh, I'm gonna die for this cause. Like, no, fuck that. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna saw my hand off. There's no honor. I'm surrendering. You have stabbed my hand and it is now stuck to this table. Fuck you. I'm not cutting off my hand. Like, here's the white flag. I don't care about this fucking who wins this shit. I have no honor at all whatsoever. Like, I don't. Yeah, dude really was like
fucking Darrow. Because his whole thing was like, I'll let you go if you can free your hand or whatever the hell. Like, he tells him that. And I'm like, why did you have to do that? Like, why don't you just kill this guy? Like, he is your arch nemesis and you're giving him a way out. Like, even though he, in his mind, he thought, he's not going to cut off his hand. It's like, you should have stabbed it all his limbs and then watched him cut all his limbs off or something. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of like a weird choice because he's gone so far, or he's come so far. And
yeah, it was interesting because I feel like he thought that he was going to show to the other people that the jackal is like nothing but a name, like he's just whatever, but he's like not actually about this life. Turns out dude is really about this fucking life. Like, so I thought, I guess, that was an interesting like take where he's just like, I'm just going to stab your hand through. And basically you either cut your hand off or you lose this thing. And like, really? Because I feel like Darrow's been like, people have died. Like, people have actually died and been killed throughout this entire thing. And
which they say multiple times people aren't supposed to die during this part.
Yeah.
So all these people getting raped, they're getting killed,
getting their ears chopped off, right? Like, so much has happened that I feel like technically would be worse than just cutting my own hand off, like choosing to cut my hand off. And also this guy is eating people. Okay. Let's also rewind again and say this guy ate his classmates. Like, you would think that Darrow would start here with like, I'm going to kill you versus, this like thought process, like, oh, well, I'm just going to show everyone that he's a pussy. He's not a pussy. That's what we learned. Okay. If he's everything else in the world, he's not a pussy. Like, he's not backing down. He's all the bad things, but he's not a wuss. So interesting that was his thought process. Cause I wonder like what made him think this is what's going to show them that he's nothing, or this is what's going to show him that he's nothing and that I'm more than him. Cause you stabbed his hand through and he said, and you thought he wasn't going to cut his hand off. Like, I don't know. That's so weird.
Yeah. That's when you stop thinking that they're normal.
Yeah.
It's after like person 7.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, this motherfucker might actually cut off his hand.
You ate 7 people?
7 whole ass people.
Right. Like, I could maybe excuse.
Not even cooked.
Right. You just ate 7 raw, buried, like dirty people. Like, you didn't even like clean this meat. You just ate it like straight off the bone. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm so sorry. Like, no, I could excuse 6, but once you hit 7, it's like, that's too many people.
That's too much. That's too much.
Now you enjoy.
That's when you start enjoying it. And you're like,
yeah,
I miss being in that game back in my youth when I used to eat my fellow students. Well, before we continue, I was gonna say we should take another shot here.
Okay,
if you're down for it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, so salud.
Salud.
Oh God,
it's just disgusting. Not gonna lie.
Woo. I don't know how there's like some people that just like drink that shit straight. Like, they just love it. Like, I've always seen it in movies and shit. It's just it's just always like an old dude with just a bottle or a little glass of whiskey.
Little glass.
Like, and those like circle ice cubes.
And I tell you what, 2 episodes ago, I actually did that. Like, and I just felt like such an old white guy, like old rough white guy, because I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm now drinking like Crown. Like, I think that's like neat when you just drink it. Like, no, I didn't even have ice in it. Like, I literally just poured some in a little cup and I just like sipped on it. It was not great, but I guess like when I'm accustomed to taking shots, it was not too big of a difference to just take a little sips. But
you're gonna have to start smoking cigars, because that's what they also do. Maybe that helps. Puffing on
like
big
baby virgin lungs that just like cannot handle like smoke of any sort. Like, I'd be choking, dying. No, I can't do it. I can't. Like, I tried like to baby puff on something before, and like when I say I almost died, and I was outside like at a bus stop. I almost threw up at a bus stop. Just from choking, like coughing so hard. It wasn't even a full inhale, like not even a full puff. And I said, I'll never do that shit ever again.
Oh my
You won't
god.
catch me smoking cigars in this bitch.
Well, speaking about smoking, so what happens after this is a grenade gets lobbed into this whole fort or whatever the hell.
Uh-huh.
And the proctor, specifically Apollo, I guess he's the one that raids this whole interaction.
Yeah.
Because Pax gives Jackal the ion blade.
Yeah.
Jackal finishes soldering his hand. Grenade comes in, explodes, everyone's freaking out, and Jackal proceeds to just fucking kill Pax.
Yeah.
Stabs him in the throat, and then he I think Jackal actually tries to rush towards Darrow, but Pax jumps on him and is just being sliced from the back, like all the way through. I mean, the way it's described, I think this is one of the best descriptions in the book as well, is like fucking Jackal was just insane.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
he is just like cutting through this body like it's like it's nothing. And then the way, you know, he describes Darrow feeling like each impact and each vibration and just Pax's blood and tears and all whatever kind of shit. Thought this was like brutal. Just like such a brutal way to end this whole situation. And like, what a way to be like, you fucked up. Like, if you wouldn't have just stabbed his hand like an idiot and like try to make a show out of this, you got so far and now your number one warrior is like dead on top of you.
Yeah.
And then after this, Jackal runs away and then he is chased. But I was going to ask you about that specifically, the Pax death. And
that shit was sad. That really hurt because I guess like, and I think is it where did Pax come from? Is Pax the one that Darrow fought before, or was that No, it had to be. Was it Pax that Darrow, like, who's like this big fucking brute dude and then he fights him and then he ends up being a cool person actually? Or was that Tactus?
I see, that's why I keep getting,
because for some reason, like, Pax and Tactus in my head are like the same person, and I know
they're
not
the same dude.
No, it's not
one
the
wears
same,
like
but like
a blue shirt and one wears a red shirt.
Yeah, like they're
number one, number two.
I can't remember, but I know that Pax ends up being someone who Darrow like truly considers a friend. You know, like he's like, we're gonna be friends outside of this type of thing, where we're like, Pax is super loyal. He's like this big, like it almost seems like he's like this huge dude, but he's like a teddy bear, really. You know, like he's a fun guy. He's a caring guy.
He laughs a lot, but
he laughs a lot, and Darrow did just describe, like, I think like right before this happened, like how infectious Pax's laugh was and how it has like a feminine like flair to it when it goes on for any longer than like I feel like he made him he just felt like such a lovable, like just a big ass teddy bear. And then for Pax to at the end sacrifice himself as well, because that's what made it sadder. It wasn't like, oh, he just died and they were in the middle of like storming someone's house and Pax got caught in the whole in everything and just dies. Like, it was like a brutal death, but at the same time it was a sacrifice. Like, he sacrificed himself for Darrow. And then is brutally fucking murdered on top of that, on top of Darrow. Like, so like there's like so many levels. Like, he's literally shielding Darrow from this, and truly, it's really Darrow's fault, because why didn't you just kill the Jackal when you had the chance? Because up until this point, even when the dude was stabbed through the hand, you realized he's a fucking psychopath. You could have killed him then, before you asked him to cut his hand off. You could have killed him when you saw him start to cut his fucking hand off. That would have been it for me. Oh, he's really trying. I'm cutting this dude's like throat.
I would just slit his throat. Just be like, Pax, come over here.
Kill him at this point. And I think that's why the proctors come down, because they realize, like, okay, like, he's stuck. Well, they had time. Darrow basically gave the proctors time to come down and save him by letting him, like, oh, I'm just gonna let him cut his hand off. So that was psychotic. But the Pax scene,
what was the plan? Like, if he didn't cut off his hand, but they were just gonna sit there all night?
Yeah, and I don't know. That's the thing. Like, it's like we never got it. We never got the plan, and I almost feel like Darrow's plan wasn't well thought out. Because evidently he didn't plan for the possibility that the Jackal would really be crazy enough to cut his hand off. Because if you would think, like, if you have this plan, you would have to think of the possibility, like, what am I going to do if he decides to do this? But it's like he couldn't see that far. Like, he was blinded by this, like, I guess thought that golds are just so selfish, and then realized like this is a different fucking type of gold right here. Like this is not just some like I rule all and I would never do anything to like actually jeopardize my own like my own self, only other people. And in reality, he's like, I don't give a fuck about this hand. Like I give a fuck about power. You know, like, and that seems to be more true to like what a gold actually is than what Darrow's thought process or mindset is on how they actually think, at least the ones at the top. So that was such a sad scene though, Pax dying. I was really sad about that. And even I think Darrow says like he looks back at Pax and he has like a smile across his face, like, you know, his dead body. And I'm just like, oh my God, like he was a good dude, you know, because I feel like I don't hate the golds in the same way that Darrow does. Like I don't like all of the ones that we've come across, but mostly because, you know, maybe their personality was shit. But for the most part, I'm just like, you know, most of these people he's come across seem to be good people. And Pax was one.
I mean, they didn't choose to be born a gold.
Right.
Like my girl Mustang, like, she's still cute.
So that was really sad. But Pax's death, I feel like really kicks off. Like once Pax's death happens, this really kicks off like the end of this book. Like everything just fucking like it just gets so crazy from here on out. Whew.
So right after this, a blood trail is left, and Darrow follows this blood trail. It's Jackal's blood trail as he's running off with his cut off hand. He just killed Pax. Darrow's like, I'm about to kill this motherfucker. And then he gets into a tussle with Apollo, the proctor, who had been trying to fuck things up. He gets flown up with his grab boots, and they're up in the sky, flying, you know, talking shit, whatever the hell, calling each other stupid, calling each other names, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, all right, this proctor's about to drop him, and Darrow's just going to break his legs or some shit. And then Darrow, out of nowhere, I forget exactly what happens, but something with his shield fucks up or whatever the hell. Darrow stabs his ring finger. That's another thing. He got like a ring finger blade from Finchner before he punched them in the throat or whatever until he couldn't move. He stabs that into the eye of this proctor. Fucking kills this guy.
Yeah, literally. But I think what got Apollo was him taking Mustang or mentioning Mustang or whatever. Like, I think that really threw Darrow over the edge where he's like, fuck this bitch. Like, you know, like I'm about to kill him. I'm trying to go back and see, like, was it something else or was it Mustang? But from what I remember, it was like once Apollo was like, I have Mustang, he's like, oh.
He was like, stop or I will kill Mustang.
Yeah. And he's like, we already have her. And I know Darrow's already thinking like, these bitches just killed Pax. I can't lose Mustang as well. And he just goes into that blind rage.
Can't lose Mustang.
You're like, I would have done the same thing.
When I read that part, I was like, I can't lose Mustang.
You're like, I get it, Darrow. I would have done the same fucking thing. But yeah, so then Apollo ends up dead. And now, you know, this sequence.
And I was like, holy fuck, he just killed a proctor.
Yeah. And see, up to this, we didn't know that Darrow had like the grav boots on. Like that's information we didn't fucking get. That he stole from Fitchner. And then I guess that's kind of when we find out Fitchner's still alive. Because I think he's like, oh yeah, I put him in a dungeon or whatever the fuck and took his grab boots. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. Like, I guess he's still alive. That's good to know. And then this starts this like raid on the proctors up at Olympus. So this was like the exciting like factor. Like, okay, bam, now fuck the Jackal. Fuck the other people in this game. We're going after these fucking proctors now because they have Mustang. So that was, I definitely, I guess it kind of makes sense in retrospect. I'm like, okay, they did kind of mention Olympus a lot of times, but I was never thinking like they're going to go up there and like, fucking fight these proctors, like raid.
Yeah, I never thought that was gonna happen. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
he's just gonna fly up here and kill everybody, and that's what he did.
Yeah, he literally did.
that's what he did.
He said, I'm taking my best bitches. I think he gave several like Apollo, or I think they switched like grab boots. So now several has grab boots, and then all of his howlers, they like tie their belts together so that they can fly up to Olympus together to like rain hell on these proctors and find Mustang. So I'm like, damn, Darrow fucking loves this bitch at this point. point. Like, and he doesn't even realize he does, right? Like he's still like on this like AO train or whatever, which is fine. Of course, that's his wife, right? But he's still so much, I feel like just has so much guilt about her and her death and like moving on from her, that he's still not like saying like, oh, but I love this girl. But it's so obvious. Like, you're not gonna go on this fucking rage like path of vengeance. Like, fuck you, I'm killing a proctor. I'm going up here, I'm gonna fight these other proctors. I don't care what happens for this girl that you don't love.
Yeah.
So I'm sure like you, the Mustang, and Darrow, like, you know, you want this relationship to happen. I'm sure. How did you feel about him like going up here like, fuck these proctors, I'm about to go fight for this girl?
I mean, I don't care if Darrow stays with Mustang. I just want Mustang to be alive. I just don't want nothing bad to happen to her.
Yeah.
That means Darrow causing mayhem, then okay. I am team Darrow in that case. But yeah, I love this part. Like him just going into a rage. Because I think that's like the thing, you know, like Darrow was selected because he can control his emotions and blah blah blah. But I also love how he can use his rage into like momentum. You know, like he can make this shit happen because of his rage. And so I really liked it all, you know, coming out, you know, like him just having this outburst was awesome. And then like how they raided Olympus, you know, and like all these proctors are just like butt naked doing whatever the hell they're doing, like doing nothing. Like just
literally
hanging out, eating
chilling.
grapes and shit.
Yeah.
And he just proceeds to like wrap them all up and like enslave them. And then there's one, I forgot the name of the one who actually puts up a fight. But even that fight was interesting and exciting because I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then like this whole scene I absolutely loved. I loved the crazy mayhem of it all. And I don't know, it was just like one of those scenes where like, I mean, I'm sure this happens in like TV a lot. I haven't really watched TV, but this whole book is giving me like if I was watching a TV show kind of vibe, like I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. And then, you know, like towards the end of a season, shit really starts like fucking piling up and your favorite characters are dying and like fucking castles burning and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? And like you just want to talk to someone about it. Like this whole sequence and like these previous sequence, and then it's gonna get even crazier here in a minute. It's just like all this like stuff. It's like, wow. Like I remember reading this and thinking like, damn, I can't wait to talk to Ariel about this. Like,
Same.
Crazy.
I was like, oh, I'm so glad. Mind you, I binge read the whole 100 pages yesterday. So, so I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad like I didn't read this like last week. Like I'm so glad it's the day before we're supposed to record because there's no way. Like I wanted to talk about this shit so bad. But yeah, and it's like one of those things where you're reading and like you're making like audible like sounds and reactions like, bitch, what? That was me while I was reading. I'm like, what? Like, oh shit, like plot twist, like out loud, just like like this is just too good.
And then, oh my God, my favorite part is obviously when he finds Mustang.
Of course.
And then I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then like I thought, like, damn, like this shit's about like I don't think this would actually happen in a real situation if this was happening. If I was Darrow, well, I don't know, maybe it'd be different. But it's like almost hinted like there's like a moment where it's like they're about to just like get it on.
Yeah.
They're about to and me as like I had to shut the book. I had to close my eyes. I had to be like fucking I had to be like fucking Jackal. I had to take some breath. My hand is on the table right now. I need to take some breath. I was like, oh shit, this is about to go down.
Yeah.
I'm ready because like she could die. Like I need to make sure I have this scene if she dies. But luckily, you know, she doesn't die. But I love how like they're just like so into each other. And like you were saying, like he doesn't consciously know that he's in love with her, but he's totally in love. Like he just rated this whole shit. And then she's the same exact way. They're just like chit chatting, making it not a big deal, saying whatever, you know, like your typical like teen, youthful, I'm not into you, but I'm into you kind of shit. And then they actually finally kiss. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. Like I thought it was perfect. It was sweet. You know, they hint at more, but they don't do it. And like that's their whole relationship. I think that's why I like the relationship. There's like this like thing where they're just not going all the way. That is like really sweet.
Yeah.
Because they have other objectives and ideas.
Yeah.
Where I think in real life, because these kids are like 18 or whatever now. in real life, they'd be doing it like
Oh, hell
just
yeah.
anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
Like they'd be doing it with right after they do it. So I don't know. I just think in the book, it really fits their whole vibe, their energy, and the whole like story.
Yeah. Facts. And I will say, as someone who was like last week or a week before, whenever we discussed this, like I told you I hate like unnecessary romance. I will say that I really, really, really like how this writer is bringing in this romance, because it's like slow enough that I'm enjoying it. Like it's like, okay, by the time they actually do get together or whatever, because I feel like in the next book we're gonna see more of this in some way. I don't know what's gonna happen with it, but if they do decide to do something with these feelings that they have for each other, like I'm gonna be okay with it by that point, because it's been slow enough. It wasn't something that they just like rushed into where it was just like, oh, I'm a teenager and I need to fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So I really do appreciate that, because it's like they have real actual feelings for each other. And you can tell just by how slow they're taking this shit. Like the fact that they're both thinking, like, even like Darrow, I know he feels a lot of guilt and stuff, but at the same time, you can tell he really cares about her, because it's not like in that moment, yeah, they could have fucked. And like that could have been that. You know what I'm saying? They could have fucked before, because I remember back like when they were in the caves, he was like saying how she was like lingering her hand on his hand or his thighs or whatever, and he was just acting like, okay, I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like moving past that. And it's like, if he wanted to, if this was just a matter of like, oh, I just want to fuck because I'm like a teenage boy and she's a teenage girl, it could have been happened, you know. And so the fact that they're really really taking their time with it, like he's really thinking about this kind of stuff, he really does love her, he just won't say it yet. I appreciate that. And so by the time they do something with this, I will be on board with it. I'm already like, I feel better about it this week than I did last week, because I'm like, okay, like this is something real. It's not just unnecessary romance. Like it's not unnecessary. It's actually a real thing. So I'm okay with it now. I'm okay.
Yeah, this isn't some like Harmony level half her face looks good.
Yeah,
just like, which that whole like now that stuff does not make sense with Darrow.
It's not, because
he's taking it so slow with this girl.
Yeah.
But how that shit read was like he was like, I'd hit it.
Yeah.
with Harmony. And then now he's all like, he finds the dream girl and he's like, no, I can't do it right now. Like,
and he says so many times how she's like Ao. Like there's so many times throughout the story where he's like, she reminds him of his wife. And I mean, even of course, like her humming the song that Ao fucking sang, and what was the reason that she died. Like, you know, like her humming this. So I think there's so many times where he's like drawing like all these like similarities, and he's like comparing the two, and it does seem that maybe they are pretty similar, but I think Ao maybe is a little more, she seems a little more like fiery. Like hot-headed, because Mustang is really calculated and smart, and there seems to be like a lot, and he does compare them a lot. So I think
that is the one thing that throws me off a bit. Like I don't think I would be doing that. Like if I had an ex or whatever, like she passed away or some shit, like I don't think I would be actively trying to find someone reminiscent to them,
right?
Someone different, and then I wouldn't ever be thinking about the past.
He does a lot.
He's got some issues.
Like all the time, he's like, oh, like Ao, oh, she's like Ao, like, oh, she was singing this like my Ao, like, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, like, now that you're saying that,
he does. He thinks about it a lot.
This dude needs to stop.
Like he's not over his dead wife yet, but yeah. And then I think he even says like did he say he's been in the game longer, or did he said that Ao's been dead longer than they were married. So I'm like, damn, how long were they married? Like
damn, so they were just brand new.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember he said that somewhere in these chapters that we just read. And I'm like, damn. He's like, she's been gone longer than we were married. I'm like, fuck. How long has it fucking been?
Yeah, that's interesting. What if they were just married for like a week?
And they could have been. We would never know, because he was making it seem like I'm some grown man with my wife and blah, blah, blah. And so, you know how he was when the book first started. But yeah.
Which is so strange, because all right, I'm a simple guy, because I totally had a crush on Ao, but I totally have a deeper crush on Mustang.
Yeah.
But they look like two completely different women.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's
Like,
confusing him comparing her back and
yeah.
forth because I'm like, wait, no, I'm not imagining someone different. And you're over here telling me like, oh, just like how Ao walked and Ao had her hair and Ao
And
this
and
and
I
Ao
and I
that.
just feel like he's just fucking thinking like, oh well, I'm attracted to her, like I'm attracted to Ao, or she's beautiful. Like I
Mm,
was, and because I'm like, to me, and I guess we didn't know Ao that well. We barely got a couple of chapters with her before she was
yeah.
gone, but like they don't seem like similar people to me at all. Like I'm
Yeah,
definitely getting
Mustang is very
two different vibes.
yeah, Mustang seems like very I don't know, I'm getting more of like a tomboyish kind of vibe
Yeah.
from
Oh,
Mustang.
facts. Yeah.
Like she's like actually into like fighting and like doing like some hardcore ass shit, and
Yeah.
she has like a very serious like wry sense of humor, you know, like like sarcasm is a thing where I'd never felt that with Ao, like mostly because Ao over there when they were underground, you know, they're all enslaved and they're forced into certain jobs, but Mustang feels like she, you know, because she has the privilege, she feels like way more like independent and like
Yeah.
like she has her own purpose, like she doesn't really need anyone else, so she has that energy, where Ao, because of her circumstance, she was more doing whatever with the spiders and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I'm imagining two different energy types. And then yeah, and then Ao was very against that. So she was like super rebel, where Mustang is like super zen about shit. Like, you know, you
Yeah.
got to figure out how to make this all work. And then she's very like, I mean, like we talked about in the last episode, like she is like the brains behind the entire
Oh, for
operation
sure.
type of person. Where Ao was, I don't think Ao was a big planner. And I
No.
see Mustang as a huge planner.
Yeah.
Like we got a scheme. Like she seems like the girl like you could talk all night to about fucking planning the rest of your life, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Where AO is more like, I fucking hate my job. I'm gonna quit tomorrow, and I'm gonna probably like slap my boss on the way out or some shit. But I don't give a
Yeah, I agree. I get two completely different vibes, and definitely Mustang to me seems a lot more mature. And I mean, I know
hmm
that AO was only like 15 or 16, but I mean, this is not that far after it. Like Darrow's 18, so Mustang's got to be around the same age, and she just seems like she's a lot more mature and level-headed, and definitely, yeah, like she's a planner. Like, and
Yeah.
she's just the brains of this operation. Like,
Oof.
and so I'm like, I don't know, I'm fucking with Mustang a lot more than I was fucking with AO. Now, not that I don't
Yeah.
fuck with AO, but I think Mustang, I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I love a smart bitch, you know? Like I love a
Yeah.
smart bad bitch. And that's kind of like the
So
vibe.
hot. It's
Yeah.
too hot. It's too hot to handle right now. But
Yeah.
speaking of Mustang, because this is the final revelation we learn in this
Uh-huh.
book here. Fuck, and this shit like gave me anxiety. Like my blood pressure went up, my heart rate. You know, I was like, I had two fingers to like my cardioid, like on my
Yes.
neck, just like damn, I'm about to fucking have a heart attack because this shit stressing me out. Darrow suspects because the Finchner comes out of his holding or whatever. I guess Darrow releases him, and Finchner's like, "You fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you did everything right, or blah blah blah." But Mustang is the daughter of the arch governor, I think Augustus or whatever the
Yeah.
hell his name is, and Jackal is the son of this arch governor, as
Yeah.
we had talked about, which makes them brother and sister. And then Darrow just spirals into this self doubt, self like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
like
And on top of that, they're twins. They're twins.
yeah, they're twins.
Like, excuse me?
If they're twins, they like, how did he not realize when he stabbed this dude in the hand and is staring at him, you
Yeah,
know?
you would think, but maybe the game changes people. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe they were both so just like, who knows what the Jakku looked like? Who knows what he looked like beforehand? Who knows? Well, we kind of know what Mustang looked like beforehand because he kind of like met her towards the beginning, but like she had gotten sick
Mhm.
and damn near died, and everyone's like famished and like there's so much. Who knows how long it's been at this point? So maybe there just was like no like, oh, these people look alike, or these people look like they could be
Mhm.
siblings. Like, you know, like maybe he just wasn't thinking that. But I will say that was definitely a plot twist. Now, I thought that maybe they knew something because not Ao, Mustang had said before, like when one of the conversation, I think when Darrow was having a conversation with Fitchner, I think she said like
Yeah.
cheater be cheated. And then when he was having the conversation with the jackal, he said the same thing. He said, cheater be cheated. And I highlighted this like the second time when I heard it from Jackal, because I was like, wait a minute. Mustang said this exact same fucking thing. So I knew there has to be some sort of connection. Wasn't thinking like, oh, they're twin siblings, but I was like, there's some sort of connection here. And so once Darrow recognizes this, he's like, fuck, like he's given. Because he basically leaves it up to Mustang to go
grab boots, armor,
retrieve the jackal so they can win this game. Like, he has left it completely up to her. He has put all his trust in her. He's now kissed her. He's thought about giving her this flower that was Ao's flower. Like, he has gone through this whole thing.
See, that was fucked up though. Why are you giving someone else's flower to someone else?
That is fucked up. That is out, dude. That is fucked up. And then he settles like, okay, well, Ao has my heart. I can't give her this flower yet. Like, and you can feel like the devastation, and you just feel how stupid he feels, like, oh my God, this whole time, because at any point, Mustang could have said, I know who the jackal is. The jackal is my twin brother. This is him. The dude is crazy as fuck. Like, I'm saying, like, at any point she could have said, no, he's a psychopath. Because I know, like, there's no way you go into this game that makes you a psycho. Like not the way that the jackal was. The jackal, I know this dude has been crazy all his fucking life. You didn't just come in here and now all of a sudden you've been forced to the point where, oh, I'll eat people. Oh, I'll like do all. No. Dude's been crazy.
No. Yeah.
Like at point
he's probably been killing squirrels and shit back home.
Oh yeah, he's
whatever
been
fucking weird
animals and shit. and so like at any point she could have said something. Even when we get to the end, I still don't really understand why she wouldn't have said, or just like given a heads up, or like seriously don't underestimate this kid because he's crazy as fuck. Like nothing. Nothing. And then in that scene where Darrow has stabbed the jackal through the hand and she comes in and you can tell she's confused, but she still doesn't say anything. And I guess maybe she's like trusting in Darrow that like, okay, he's handling the situation, right? Like, because this is before he gets stabbed in the hand, but like, so I guess she's like trusting in him, but like, bitch, at any point you could have fucking told me that you were the twin sister of the jackal. Like, I'm not understanding, like, that might have been some good information to have. Like some good, if we're fighting the guy, it might be good to know that we've got his twin sister who literally knows this person on our side.
Yep. Well, I was going to say, before we continue on, I was going to say we should do another shot.
Oh, okay. I'm with it. I'm with it.
And this is for Mustang not betraying us.
Yeah, in the end. Good on her. I was scared. I had hope. Salud.
But yeah. Oh shit. Why does it get worse?
It gets worse.
I'm already drunk, and it's worse.
And you would think it gets better, but it literally gets worse every time.
But all the stuff you said, totally 100% correct. Like, why the hell did she not say it? But the other thing that didn't make any sense was like the way this was all set up kind of bothered me, like the writing wise, because I was like, wait, are we not gonna like pause? We're not gonna take any time. And like I get it's all like the collapsing adrenaline, like this is the end. We're like just fucking exploding out or whatever. But I was so confused why Darrow was just like immediately like, oh, she's betrayed me. And then like there's this whole chapter of him building an army against her. Like there's this whole fucking chapter of like, all right, she's fucking betrayed us and like all this shit, all that. She tells everyone about it. Damn, like I didn't even believe it. I was like, there's no way, like, because if she was with him, she could have just killed you at any point. I don't see how her going to him and then coming back to fight you would make sense. And then he has his whole army built up or whatever the fuck, and then she's riding across the mountain, and then there's the fucking jackal just on the back of the horse or whatever, just passed out and naked. And she's like, what are y'all doing? Like, what's going on? What's up?
Yeah, I had hope as well because, he like immediately was like, fuck, she's betrayed. Like, I mean, like he literally lost hope in her immediately. It took nothing. Like, so
he's insecure. I mean, I would be too, because I imagine like Mustang's a 10. I think probably Darrow's like a 4. So if he says all the time, like, this other person is more handsome than me. Like he says that all like about other dudes. It's like, he's more handsome than I am. Damn. His hands?
Yeah.
His hands make my hands look small, bro.
Facts. And so I definitely like, I thought that was kind of funny. And so it's like his panic was making me panic, but I was still like, no, there's no way, because like she at any point, like she could have spun this to her advantage so many times before just now, you know? And then but it did have me, because I was like, okay, well, what if like suddenly she comes back with her brother? Because then I'm thinking like, well, how the fuck would, like, how would this story end if she came back with her brother? Like, just kidding, I'm the Jackal's like twin sister and we're doing this shit together and blah 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 blah, blah.
We gonna fuck her shit.
Right, yeah, like
we're gonna eat you, Darrow.
Yeah, like we're gonna eat you. But so I kind of was like, no, I feel like she's gonna come back and it's gonna still be good. But I wasn't sure if she was gonna be like upset that he thought that she betrayed him at all. Like I thought maybe she was gonna hold on to that a little more, but she seemed like cool with it. I guess she kind of was like, well, yeah, you're right, I didn't tell you that he was my twin brother because I don't really fuck with him. But even if you don't really fuck with him, I feel maybe that was more of a reason to tell me he was your twin brother and like give me the insight, because you don't really fuck with him anyway, you know? Like, I don't know, like, so I still thought even at the end, even when she comes back, she didn't betray him. She could have fucking said that was her brother, but it's fine, I guess. Like, we rise, we'll move past it. So then she comes back and she's brought him the Jackal and he fucking wins the game. And so it's like, damn, okay, so like what now? Like, now that the game is won, what happens? And it seems like everything after that happens so fast too. Like, I just feel like once they get to Olympus, really, like whatever chapter it was that they get to Olympus, everything goes so fast after that. Like, it's just like scene after scene after scene after scene, and then boom, the book's over. You're like, what?
I liked it while reading it, but in like afterthought, I am thinking like, damn, you could have savored this just a little bit more. I think that's my complaint of the whole book, is like, damn, I wish I would have gotten a moment with him and Mustang alone. Because here's my fear is because so Mustang comes back, Jackal's defeated, and then the game just ends. Like, it literally just ends, and like in a couple, like, I don't know exactly, but it feels like in a couple minutes, like head honchos are coming down and like, oh, congratulations, blah blah blah, here's your ceremony. And I'm like, what? Like, this does I was confused. And then all of a sudden, and this is just the end of this entire book, is the dad of Jackal, and then I guess also Mustang, comes down, talks to Darrow, and is like, look, I'm the arch governor Augustus, whatever, blah blah blah. Join my fleet, I'll make you a commander, and you have to like bow and all this kind of shit. And I was like, cool, Darrow's gonna say no.
I thought he was gonna say no.
Because like,
I
this
really
whole
thought
fucking game, this whole game has been fuck the system, I'm a fucking rebel, like, I don't give a fuck, right?
I thought the same thing. I really did.
And
I
then,
thought he was gonna spit in this dude's face, you know?
like, I'm gonna command my own fleet, no family name. Mustang's family name.
Right. Like,
and then he just fucking gets on his knees. Gets kissed on the head, and then blah blah blah, like, I renounce my name and all this kind of whatever. It just sounds like, you know, another form of slavery, honestly. And then the book ends.
And that was interesting, I guess, for me. I don't know, because I also definitely truly thought he was going to be like, fuck you to the arch governor. But I feel like this is like a moment where we really see Darrow's evolution, maybe, and his maturity. Because in reality, this is the best opportunity for him to actually get where he needs to be for the Red's sake. Because the only better opportunity he would have had would have been Cassius, which I forgot even to say anything about Cassius, because we did see Cassius in the end, and he did end up saying, like, he did end with this blood feud. So it's kind of like what I was like, okay, well, maybe it'll be like a, you know, Lex Luthor and like Superman, Clark Kent type thing where they used to be best friends and now they're fucking arch nemesis. Like, so I think that's kind of like on par with what he said, like blood feud. Like, anytime we're in the room together, if we ever breathe in the same room together, one of us will stop breathing at the, like, it was so dramatic. It's so dramatic. It felt like
Cassius,
drawn out. And just like, oh my God, like shut up. What is this Game of
like
Thrones? Like, shut the
Cassius,
fuck up. Like
you couldn't even kill his ass. Like fucking blood feud. Shut the fuck
like
up. Like you
and then
left him.
Daryl's like, oh, he peels off the scab and like
Yeah, he
sucks
had
the
a
blood out of
perfectly.
his scab from his mouth and spits it on me. And it's like, bitch, we're in a blood feud now. Like, what the fuck? Like, I would be so disgusted. Like, that was so like, how dramatic is that?
Dude,
Like, wow, like Cassius is all drama. Oh my God. But anyway, like
he's too much. He oh my god. That shit pissed me off. I was like, this dude literally has a scab that he's been saving. He's been saving this
moment.
scab.
He's like, I knew this
Darryl.
would be prime, like ready for this moment. I'm saving this. I will peel it, suck the blood out of it, and spit it on your face. Like, just to declare blood feud. Like, so if Darrow and Cassius had made it to the end, still friends, then I think that we would have gotten that reaction out of Darrow where he would have been like, no, fuck you. Like, I'm gonna go with the Bologna, whatever Cassius's family is, because it's the arch governor and then it's Cassius's family. Like, they're the top two basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he would have gone with that. But since that wasn't an option, I feel like he was like, no, really though, my best opportunity to make a difference here is to go with the arch governor. And also probably he's still probably thinking on the lines of vengeance. He's like, I'm gonna like get under this dude's wing and then I'm gonna kill him at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still feel like he's thinking like, oh, he killed my wife, he whipped me, he did this stuff, and like this is going to make it more personal when I eventually rise to the top or whatever. But I also thought it was interesting how we had that whole conversation between the arch governor and Darrow, where basically the arch governor is bribing him, like, don't tell anyone that I fucked the system here for my son, and I'll let you be under my wing. I'll let you have this success. I'll let you get this training that you want. But we got like no conversation from the Jackal after this has happened. Nothing really from Mustang after this has happened. And I almost was like, I was wondering if, because I know like he said when he got on his knees, like the room was almost like, what the fuck? Like kind of like gasped like at this declaration. But I wonder, like, is Mustang going to feel a type of way about this? Because I don't know, because at the end, we find out that this is her family. And she didn't claim her family the whole fucking time. Like, does she hate her family? Does she hate her father? Does she hate her brother because he's like her father? Like, I just wonder, what is this going to do for their relationship? Is she going to be like, you pussied out? Like, because knowing this whole time, like, Darrow tells all of them, like, this shit is, and it's her brother and her dad, and she says nothing. So I'm like, will you feel some type of way about Darrow basically committing his life to your dad? Like, I wonder what that's going to mean for their relationship.
See, that's my big fear. If we don't get Mustang in part 2, I'm done.
I think she'll be there, but I just want, like, I don't know. I just hope, I'm scared.
What if she hates him?
I know,
and then
right?
She leaves. What if she marries Cassius or some shit?
Oh, wow.
Some melodramatic ass Cassius.
Yeah, that would be fucking...
Who still has his scab. He's just saving that scab. He's like peeling it back. Every time it dries, he just peels it off. Like, I don't want it to heal.
You'll never heal.
That's you, Darrow. You're the scab.
All the other information we got, and we got nothing there at the end. It was just like, seriously, just like a cliffhanger. The book just ended.
Yeah,
like, it literally just ended. Yeah. So I'm like, fuck, like, what does everyone think of this? What does Severo think of this? Like, what do his friends think of this? Where they all literally were fighting essentially against the arch governor. Their whole purpose in this was showing the arch governor that you can't get what you want. And he didn't. I mean, his son didn't win. But at the end of it, he still got Darrow, who won this whole thing, to commit his life to him. And Darrow's silence and his like solemn swear that he'll never tell anyone that he cheated to get his son to win. So it's like, at the end of the day, the arch governor looks like he won anyway because he got the fucking best of the best, right? So I'm like, what are his peers gonna think of this? What are his friends gonna think when they just spent like a year of their lives fighting against this one person?
Yeah, because I mean, we didn't get like this whole book. Like, I feel like we don't really feel the consequences that much.
Yeah,
and I'm worried that book 2 is going to start and he's going to start his training. But then also, like, when this game ended, I mean, I do like how this was kind of noted in the book. Like, it just ended and then they were all just standing around like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, we just killed half our classmates.
Yeah.
And these people are coming down with like cheesecake and like, fucking parties. It's like, oh, congratulations.
It's just like over.
It just like snap cuts to it'd be like basic training and then you just cut to your family being there, like, oh, great job, this is so cool. And you're like, wait, what? Like, I need to decompress. And we don't get that in this like final part because he doesn't talk to Mustang. Like, they don't even talk really.
Nothing.
Like, she's just like, oh, you thought I betrayed you? And then immediately it's just into pledging allegiance to the Augustus. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I assume in book 2, we're going to recap, but then I fear, because we were introduced to like 20 characters. Half of them died. I'm worried in book 2, we're going to get introduced to like 20 more characters and we're just going to leave all these people behind. Because like, if you think about it, like, I'm thinking about it like in reality, like all the people I interacted with and had an experience with in basic training or tech school, like, I don't really see them every day now. Because like we've splintered off. All our lives are different. That's reality. And in this world, I mean, that's just in America. I mean, this fucking book is about Mars and he's about to leave Mars, I assume. Like, he's about to go to like fucking Jupiter or some shit. Like, he's about to leave to a whole nother planet. What if Mustang goes to another planet because she gets another sponsor to go to school? What if fucking Tactus goes to another school? What if Severo stays on Mars?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, damn, like, I've already liked all these characters. Like, I want Severo to be in his crew.
Yeah.
And that's what the one thing I was hoping he would say is,
but I'll take my lieutenants.
Yeah, I'll take you, but I need Tactus, I need Severo,
Yeah.
I need Mustang. You got to approve our marriage right now, right here.
Right.
And like, that's what I thought he was going to do. Because I don't know, maybe that's what I thought I would do. Like, I got to keep my crew of loyal people because his secondary plan is to do an uprising. So like, why you already worked so hard throughout this whole 2 years of this game? Why not keep your diehard supporters? Like, I truly think like Tactus, Severo, and Mustang, if he would be like, look, I'm a red and I'm going to overthrow this shit, like, maybe not now, but like in a couple of years, I think they would be game for it. They'd be like, all right, like, I fuck with it.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder how long passes between book 1 and book 2. Like, I wonder if we're going to open book 2 and it's like, oh, it literally left off right here. And he's like, hey, I just pledged my life, but I want all my friends. Like, I would love that because I definitely don't want
that would be cool.
The end of Severo. I don't want to see the end of Tactus, and I wish Pax was still there. Oh, and then we got Roke, whatever. We got him back at the end too, where it was like, oh, he wasn't fucking dead. Yeah. So like him too, like pull him in because he was so fucking excited to see his friend again. So I'm like, let's get these people back. And Quinn, like, there were so many people, like so many friends he made here that felt like I can really, really, really trust these people. Like, these people have my back. They trust me. I trust them. And we could conquer so much together. Like, keep those people in your circle. I really don't want to like get new people. Like, I don't want to start over. Like, I don't want to start over in book 2. And he's like, whatever is the next part of this like academy thing that they go to. I don't care about the new people. Like, I want to know about all of our friends that we made in book 1. Like, I want them to all stay together, bitch. Like, so I don't know, but like, maybe book 2 will open like right here,
See, yeah, that's something I didn't think about. If there's a time jump, I'm gonna have a panic attack.
Yeah,
if it's like 5 years later, I'll be like, oh my god, my Mustang is done married.
Right, like, what happened? What the fuck happened to all our people? I'm like, I hope it starts off like either right where we left off or like very shortly thereafter. Like, if we have a time jump, it's gonna be too much to handle. And especially since there's like 5 books, I'm like, bitch, please don't jump time too much.
5 books plus 2 new ones
plus
that were
new
just announced.
Yeah, like, what the hell? Now that's why I'm like, we'll never be done with Red Rising. We'll always be reading this fucking
this is a never-ending
series.
Because like, if you look at the book, the next book is like double this size. The book after that's double that size.
Like, they keep getting
and the final book. So if part 6 and 7 continue this trend, they're about to be like the size of the Bible or some shit.
Right. Oh my goodness gracious.
Damn. And I swear, Mustang's not in every single page.
They better be glued to each other at this fucking point. Yeah, like so. Okay, so
Uh,
overall, right? So we finished our
mhm.
first book. I want to know number one, your overall impressions of the book. Like, did you like it? Did you love it? Was it okay? Was it whatever? And then
Mhm.
on top of that, like specifically the book, how did you feel outside of the specific book with reading? Like, how do you feel now? Do you feel like you're more of a reader? Do you feel like the same? Do you like it more or less? Whatever, like, still hate it? Like, how are
Mhm.
you feeling?
Well, the first question was, how did I like the book?
Mhm.
I liked the book. I was thinking about this earlier because I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll do a review of this book on my like YouTube channel.
Mhm.
And I think right now I'd probably be leaning towards I think it's a good book. Like I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Mainly because the ideas. Like I think this
Mhm.
guy, Pierce Brown, like he is a hugely creative person.
Mhm.
Like the way he thinks is creative. The world, the politics, the intrigue, the story elements, the characters. Like he's really good at character and world and like society building, I think. Like and I think he has a really good hand on that. And he makes
Mhm.
for like an interesting read. Like
Yeah.
there was not a really like there's parts of this book I didn't like, but they were never boring. You know, like I was always having a emotional reaction.
Yeah.
You know, like even the Mustang thing, like I say I was like pissed off, but like I wasn't pissed off at the book. I was pissed off at the event. You know, like when you watch a
Yeah.
show and one of your favorite characters is doing something stupid,
Yeah.
it's like that. Like I'm not actually angry because that's what the thing is wanting me to feel is like
Mhm.
upset.
Yeah.
So it's that means it's successful. And I
Yeah.
think this book is successful in all its attributes. The only thing that I really dislike was like the, lack of detail or like it should have slowed down in a
Mhm.
couple beats. But
Mhm.
I mean, overall, like I just think it's like solid. Like I see why it's such a big series nowadays. Like I see, like honestly, if our next book wasn't the book I chose, I'd be like,
Mhm.
all right, let's get on to part two because I got to find out what happens next. Like
Yeah.
it totally has that energy and that vibe
Mhm.
and it's exciting. So yeah, I think it's a good book. What about you? Did you also feel that, or what
Yeah,
was your opinion of it?
I think I would give it a solid 7 as well. It was a good read. I feel like, at the beginning of the book, I was like for example, if we just split up on our episodes. The first episode I was pumped. I was like, "Oh yeah, this book was good as hell." Like the first 12 chapters really had me. The next whatever group was that we did on our second episode was slow. So I remember like feeling
Mm,
like, "Okay, this kind of
yeah.
slowed down." Like it's not a bad book. It's not like, "Oh, I want to throw this book away now," but it just felt a little slower. But we've kind of been on an incline. So then third episode, it was like, okay, that was better. Like that was better than last week. Not as good as the first week, but that was better. And then this last week,
Yeah.
like this finale, like this shit. I mean, yeah, like I read that all in one day. It was like, bitch, I'm gonna read these last 100 pages right now. Like I need to know what's happening. And it was great. So I agree though. I feel like there was definitely like, especially like on episode 2, we got a lot of detail with random shit that I didn't need. And then we didn't get detail with other things. And there was some scenes where I felt like he could have given more love to, like, we talked about the
Yeah.
Cassius scene with him like stabbing fucking Darrow, and we got really nothing out of that. But then this last quarter of the book was so just like jam packed with like action
Yeah.
scenes and like emotions, and it just was like on steroids. So overall, I think the book was really good. Again, 7 out of 10, because it wasn't like, oh,
Yeah.
this is the best book I've ever read, but it was good. And I would definitely like, I'm excited to see what happens next. So whenever we do get to it again, it'll be kind of cool to, I guess, see. I hope it doesn't piss me off. That's the thing. I'm hoping like, since he's made it so far down the line where there's 5 and then 2 more coming, so a potentially like 7 book series, like it's got to be good enough for him to feel like people still want to read 7
Yeah.
books. But it was a good ride. Like I enjoyed it. Like that, it was a good first intro book. So
Yeah.
I had a good
Yeah, I
time.
think you picked the perfect introduction book, which I think that was your second question, which was like how was reading?
Yeah. How did that go for you?
Yeah, I love it. Like
Okay.
I've been reading while I eat. I'm like, oh, I need to eat so I can start reading.
Wow.
And I mean, I've been reading at night a couple days these past couple weeks because I've been busy and I haven't
Mhm.
really been eating as much as I probably should be. But yeah, like I really like it. Like, and I look forward to it now. I think I'm becoming like a better reader slowly.
Good.
Like I still think I have like a few hiccups on reading. Like I forget characters' names,
Oh,
or
right,
like
right,
I
right.
don't remember things, or I'm like, wait, what the fuck happened like
Yeah.
last chapter? So there's like those little quirks, but like I'm starting to like really enjoy it. Like I look forward to it. Like I get to like disconnect from the world. Like I
Yeah.
put my phone down, it's not priority. I just lay down or I sit down somewhere and just read. It feels good. Like it almost feels like I've tried meditating and I've done that for a while, but I don't know. I like this way more. And it feels like I'm meditating in a way, like I'm forgetting about everything with me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm just reading words. And then like I've gotten to the point to where like if I read for like an hour or so, like those last 20 minutes, I feel like I'm like super like zen, like in a zone. Like these last two chapters, like you said, like you start reading it and you just finish it.
Yeah.
Like I got to a point to where I was just like, I don't know, like I felt like I was daydreaming. Like I wasn't really where I was, like in my room. Like I was just drifted off into this Red Rising world. And that felt really cool. And it felt really relaxing. And I was like, oh man, that felt cool. Like I was thinking like if these were the first three chapters of part two, I think I would just keep reading the whole book. Like it felt real good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So I like it.
awesome. I love that. I love to hear that. Like that maybe we're converting you into like
Hmm.
maybe not a bookworm, but just someone who like enjoys reading. Cause we started off this and you're like, I literally hate reading like with a burning passion. Like I never read a book. Like, so I think that's really, really cool. And who knows how you'll feel by the end of even our first like list of books, so our first 10 books, like who knows how you'll feel by the end of that. But that's great. Like that was beautiful. That was a beautiful way to describe that. I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah.
I think that I want to try to make this something more like a daily thing. So kind of like how you were saying
Hmm.
where you're going to read, 30 minutes a day, and maybe it hasn't really turned out like that for you because maybe you've enjoyed it more than you thought, or maybe time hasn't worked out like that. But I do kind of want to get to a point where it's happening more than 1 or 2 days a week, because I find that now I'm
Yeah.
kind of like reading in chunks of like 50 pages or so. Like last night, well, for two of our episodes, I read all 100 pages at once. And then I think for the other
Wow.
two, I like split it over the course of 2 days, where maybe it was a 50-50. Last week, I think it was like I read like 30 pages and then 70 the next day. So it's like I kind of want to make it something where I'm reading more often. But I do also have the issue with the like remembering by the time we get to even yesterday, I read all 100 pages yesterday. And then today I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
So and I think just because you remember all the like crazy shit that happens, or the shit that happened at the end. But so I kind of want to get into that, where I'm like making it more of a daily thing, where it is like this like meditation type feel, because I do feel that way when I read as well. And I think maybe it
Yeah.
should be something that I do more often instead of binge reading all at once. Like, okay, I'm gonna like suck up all of this book right now. Like, well, maybe I should split
Mm.
it up into pieces, melt away from the world and put my phone on do not disturb. It's a good time though. I love it.
It's awesome. Well, shit, this shit's hitting like way too hard. I totally forgot what we're talking.
You're like,
I'm like
what, like
looking at my computer, like
4
zoned
shots?
out. But yeah, so this is our first book we have finished. And then I guess we got to start setting the seeds for next week. Next
Yeah.
week, we will begin our second official book club book. And I'm kind of nervous about it. I'm not gonna lie. I am very, very nervous. I think I fucked up. I've had two different independent people, two sources come out and say Wuthering Heights is not it.
Oh shit.
So we're about to go through. I mean, the good thing, like even if the book sucks, we'll have each other
Yeah.
and
Of
we'll
course.
have Crown.
I was gonna say, and we'll have our liquor, like it'll be fine.
We'll
Because
just shit on
even
this
if
shit.
we come on here every week and we just shit on this book, that'll be a good time too. It's like that book is literally so ass. And it'll make part
Yeah.
two of the Red Rising series so much better. When we
Oh
get
yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
So it's
So
fine.
yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, next week we will be reading Wuthering Heights, and I was flipping through. I think it's going to be chapters 1 through 10
Okay.
is the first 100 pages. I think this book is only 300 pages long, so it'll just be a 3
Okay.
episode
Okay.
thingy. But yeah, hopefully it's not too bad. I don't really know much about it looking at the back of the book that I have right here. I just know it's about love. and betrayal. It's like your typical school reading thing.
Okay.
I'm just hoping it does something well. I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, it's supposed to be like a classic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
All right. I mean, I guess there's gotta be some reason. It definitely is giving me like high school, like gotta read this for school and take a test on it vibe, but only because I've heard of it before and I know that people used to read it in school.
I'm hoping it's like at least there's some murder. Maybe it's a love triangle. Someone dies. Mustang shows up.
Darrow comes to save the day, and we're like, oh shit, this wasn't that bad after all. I'm ready for it. We'll just have to see. Oh damn, I was looking to see like on Amazon because I'm like, oh shit, I haven't bought the book yet, blah blah blah, and it says it's 99 cents on Kindle. Like, oh,
there you go. There you go.
So even if it's a shit show, I'll be like, well, at least I only spent 99 fucking cents on it.
It was $1.
Yeah, it was $1. I don't care. Oh,
that was the price of a small fry at McDonald's.
I feel much better about this, knowing that even if it's just a huge waste of our fucking time, at least it was only 99 cents. Probably not that bad. I don't know. I honestly don't really know what the book is about. So when it comes to all of these books, the only one that I really know what it's about is Coraline, and that's only because I've seen the movie, but I feel like the book could be different. But yeah, that's the only one that I have like a basic understanding, because I truly did not remember what Red Rising was. Really interesting rereading this book, because I'm like, you would have thought I never read this book. It wasn't like I was reading it and I'm like, oh, I remember that. It was like I felt like I'm reading it. So
was there like not a single point that you remembered?
No, like I feel like when I remember, like at the beginning, I feel like I remembered like that Ao was gonna die. Like I remembered that. Like I remembered, okay, like his wife isn't gonna be around much longer. Didn't really know like why though. Like didn't really remember the circumstances behind it. Didn't really remember how she died. Didn't really remember that. Like I remember there's like a school. Like I remembered that, and so like everything I remembered was super broad, super vague. Didn't really help me at all when it came to the story. Didn't remember the end of the story. So I'm just like, what was I going through in my life when I read this book to have not remembered any singular detail other than I knew it was on Mars. Like I knew it was on Mars and I felt like, oh, some like war type vibe. But I guess I was more so thinking about, I was probably remembering like the Institute and them like trying to take over each other and stuff. But, and then I know like your perfume book, I saw that had a TV series, so I'm excited when we get into that.
That's what I was gonna say.
That one's gonna be sick, I feel.
I think Wuthering Heights probably has a bunch of film adaptations.
Okay.
So I'll look into that and see what's the best rated, and maybe we'll watch the best version movie adaptation if you're into it.
Oh, I'm down.
I mean, I guess you could, since you watch movies before you read, you could do it before you read.
No, I'll wait. Because I honestly don't know what this book is about. So I'd rather like read the book and be like, what the fuck, Ace? Like, what is this book? Or like, oh, what the fuck, Ace? It's pretty good. Like, but I'd rather like kind of find out as I'm reading, and then watch the movie after. So I'm excited though. We'll just kind of have to see how it goes. And even I don't know if you remember Doc Allen, but she listened to at least our first episode of the podcast, and she said that she wanted to chime in, or she wanted to start reading along once we get to that perfume book. So she was like,
oh, nice. Yeah. I need to message her back on Facebook, because I was going to bring this up to you. So this is like a little behind the scenes, I guess, for the listeners. But I was going to say, like, if there's anyone out there who wants to read along and like pop up on the show, like, I think it would be cool if we had like a special guest or whatever for certain books, or like even just for an episode.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to pop in and be like, I love this book, or I hate this book, or like this was my experience with this book, and read along with us, or I guess I just like an episode or whatever. I think that'd be really cool to just add some more voices to this little book club we got going.
I'm with it. I'm down. I think that'd be great. Have someone else to drink and talk shit with. And hopefully they remember more about the story than we do, because I feel like you and I always get on here. We're like, what the fuck happened?
that is for sure. If I don't do this on the next episode, I'm gonna be angry at myself. But I am definitely, with Wuthering Heights, gonna start making notes.
Yeah, I said this too. Yeah, this is my goal too. I said, okay, the next book, like I'll give it I'll let us have fucked up on the first book, right? Like it's our first book, it's whatever. But I said, okay, after this, I'm gonna take notes, even if it's just like a one-liner, so I know what the fuck happened in this chapter at least. Like, how did I get from here to here to here to here? Because I don't be remembering.
Yep. Because I'm worried this next book's gonna be like Bartholomew's told Ericus something. I don't fucking know. This is gonna be all these like weird ass fucking names.
Right. I'm like, I don't know what year this shit is set in. Like, this is about to be a blast. Like, but I did start to look up like, okay, Wuthering Heights, like shows and movies and stuff. And the pictures I see, I'm like, ugh, these people are wearing like old people clothes, like old clothes. I'm like, oh my God, okay, it's some old shit. But it's okay. It's all right. We will read this fucking classic. We will get through it one way or the other.
This is our homework.
Either we'll love it or we'll hate it.
I'll never pick another one of these again, I swear.
we'll just have to see how it goes. Whew, it's gonna take me back to high school.
Hey, maybe some high schooler will listen to it and be like, "Hey, I learned a lot." And I didn't even read the book. I just listened to y'all for like they didn't 4 episodes.
So they can start using us instead of like reading Cliff Notes and Spark Notes. That's how I got through reading in high school, was Cliff Notes and Spark Notes. They can start listening to our podcast. Like, listen to Read, Drink, Talk. We'll be drunk, but we'll be telling you what's going on, and you can pass your test. Hopefully, but probably not, because we'll forget what happened and we'll forget people's names and we'll fuck it up, but we'll try.
I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you again, Ariel, so much for being a part of the podcast. Like, this is awesome. This has been the thing I've looked forward to every week since we started it. And I don't know, I feel so happy and glad that I'm reading again. Like, it's really helped in my writing, I feel like, already. And just, it's awesome. So thank you.
This is the highlight of my week. So I am definitely glad to be here, you know, whether we're reading some exciting Mars shit or some like 1800s white people shit. I'm excited one way or the other. So, like, I'm glad to be here.
Watch it be exactly similar. It's like, oh, shit. These people acting like some golds.
Right. Like, damn. He's kind of like drawing some similarities between a bunch of different things. We can kind of like let's do a Venn diagram of Red Rising and Wuthering Heights.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. This is my favorite part of the week as well.
That's going to do it for this episode. If you liked our first book completion talk, let us know in the comments or in a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can send us a message there or at readdrinktalk@gmail.com. We would love to hear if y'all read along with us. What did you think about the book? What did you think about our takes on it? Did anything piss you off or make you happy or make you laugh? Just let us know that kind of stuff. Maybe if we get enough responses, we can do a recap of all the listeners, their opinions of the book or whatever. Oh yeah, and then check out my other stuff. I have a video game news podcast called Headset Chat. I have a film podcast called Cineverm. I have a gaming YouTube channel called A Lonely Gamer, and I have a criticism YouTube channel called A Lonely Critic. Yeah, I'm really drunk. I just realized I was squinting at my screen when I'm an inch away from my laptop. How are you feeling before we end? Are you feeling all right?
I feel great. And I think that the only thing saving me is the fact that I'm laying on the ground in the closet. Down. Yeah, I'm just laying on the ground in the closet. So I feel like once I get up and I start trying to move around, and also I haven't eaten dinner yet. So
oh no.
Once I get up and start trying to move around and be like, yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling those 4 shots, 4.5. I don't know how many shots we took, but yeah, I'm feeling that shit. But it's for the finale, so we do what we got to do.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see y'all next week.